Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Auntie M, holding space for you, Serge, and all his other victims. Thank you, Auntie M. Hello, T. Gaslit. Hey, y'all. Good name. Hello, Hippie Chick. Hello, One Love. Ray. Everybody that is joining us. Hello, hello. Thank you. Yes. I want to start by thanking every single one of you for holding space to 2 and 4, all the children that grew up in Scientology. I want to give a special shout out to a 3-hour interview that was posted on Growing Up in Scientology from a very brave survivor that just came forward. Mike Rinder, you should really highly recommend that you watch that 3-hour interview. Just so that you are fully aware that the monster inside of those hotels and commercial buildings you left behind have not changed whatsoever. It's what you call in Scientology, Mike Rinder, -0 ethics change has occurred. Child brides, check mark. Sent across state lines to Las Vegas to get married, check mark. Underage, check mark. Third generation, check mark. Trafficked as a minor back and forth between Florida and California, check, check, check. Nothing has been done to safeguard the safety of all the kids you left behind you. Nothing. They're still marrying children to adults, Mike Rinder. Who came up with a plan to send them to Las Vegas? That's across state lines. That's a federal crime. And I'm no lawyer. I'm nothing. I have a 7th grade education, Mike Rinder. 7th grade. Never hobnobbed with attorneys when I was inside the hotels and the commercial buildings. I was being kept against my will, given that it was all my formative years in which this took place because you and your little buddy David and your little buddy Marty Rathbun convinced the IRS that the 3 of you amigos were going to save a world. The part that was missing from your pitch is by enslaving kids at an industrial size scale. That's the part you missed to give to the IRS in your pitch, Mike Rinder. Just so that you are aware, the omitted data came right there. That's the ow point. It's called you didn't type that to your enablers at the IRS. You left that out. Shh. You know what? Why? Why did you think that children were going to have religious experiences while being role-playing as slaves, Mike Rinder? In what world can you really defend that? Today, in the year 2024, come to present time, Mike Rinder. This would be the day you come to present time. Today. You've had your entire life to come to present time. To this moment. To really take a look if there's nothing you've left out whatsoever in what you could have done to stop a problem that does originate because you and your little buddy Marty Rathbun and your little buddy David Miscavige had the great idea to resurrect convicted, indicted felon L. Ron Hubbard out of his grave. Who went lobbying for attorneys, knocking on Monique Yingling's door, begging her to take you as a client because you really wanted to save a world and you were really pressed that your religious rights were, being infringed upon. You have no idea what we want to do inside of those hotels, Monique. You have no idea how many children we're going to grab from other countries, like you did to Miriam. Imagine you typing on a blog something about psychopaths. Psychopaths, you have no self-reflection, Mike Rinder. In what world are you out of Scientology for now? Literally decades. But yet you haven't reconciled a shred of thing because you keep playing dumb. You keep not confronting evil. What L. Ron Hubbard told you was very hard for man can't and won't confront, right? Evil, was it? That was the pitch, right? Well, today you get to confront evil. Today you are told you have no other choice, mister. The buck stops here. Stop gaslighting us. Stop bullshitting us. Stop effing us in front of us, Mike Rinder. That worked when we were children, when we couldn't have been more gullible, when we couldn't have been more manipulatable, where yes, we thought we were gonna save our world. Thanks to you and thanks to the IRS. Thanks to you both, aiding and abetting all the disgusting dysfunction that we've been calling out. But apparently you are unaware that the hashtag out there in the streets is no more kids in Scientology, no more child brides in Scientology. Kids cannot consent. What part of those three hashtags does not resonate inside of your brain, Mike Rinder? Take a look, because you know what? We have simplified this in the easiest way so that even the stupidest person could put 1, 2, and 3 together and go, oh yeah, you're right. There's child brides in those hotels and commercial buildings being offered. Oh, you're right. Kids are being expected to do everything that the adults are into. Oh yeah, are the kids able to consent to that? Yes or no, Mike Rinder? Because you are unaware that that's what you're being confronted on, the fact that we didn't consent, that no child can. The fact that, as you pointed in your little videos, that L. Ron Hubbard was out of his mind, dying in a disgusting, decrepit trailer, like the degenerate that he was, and then you went around parading him around the world, telling everyone this is an American-bred God, what you have here. Your daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard. You were his publicist, Mike Rinder. In what world are we having to tell you that? Why do you keep playing dumb and dumber as if that's gonna change a shred of thing, my Grinder? It requires you open your eyes. It requires you stop infantilizing yourself and actually take responsibility. Something y'all taught at the hotel, and you know you charge a lot of money for people to be told how to take responsibility. It's called write your real overts and your real withholds, Mike Rinder. Start, time, place for an event. Every child that was brought into this country under false pretenses, because none of y'all were saving a world. Stop being infantile. Stop being delusional. It's indefensible. But you are highly aware of that, but yet you play dumb faster than anyone can spin another lie and another lie, because you're great at lying, my Grinder. Thank you for that legacy. You've made yourself clear. You're a professional, pathological liar that can spin facts faster than anyone can spin. You got all kind of attorneys running around your little finger, all like idiots with zero critical thinking skills for themselves, because you have bamboozled everyone and told everyone, yeah, really listen to you. Like, you have no conflict of interest to really come forward, right? Because you never saw anything, because you're not aware of anything, because no more kids in Scientology, no more child brides in Scientology, kids cannot consent. Simple. Why were kids being sent from California to Las Vegas in droves to get married over there? In what world is the FBI not wanting to know about that, Mike Rinder? You ask Claire Headley, since she was on another one of those child brides. And from RTC, from her very top of all the org board right next to Shelly, right? Not Shelly and Dave. So you that are besties with Claire Headley can take yourself to the FBI and start talking about the child brides. And how many did you and her see from all the way up above that you were in that hierarchy of corruption, in that hierarchy of dysfunction, in that hierarchy where the blueprint of child trafficking matches all the laws, state, federal, every one of them, my Grinder. You go and double check. Locking up passports of minors at an industrial size scale, find where that fits in that law. Take a real class. Thank God for CC that has come forward, that has literally told you how accountability sounds like in the physical universe. Not in like, let me like spin everything here like it's spin sugar, like that's gonna benefit anybody, Mike Rinder. It's not benefiting you. Believe you me, we wanted you to come forward. We wanted you to come clean. If you would have done that, no more kids would be getting abused today. Did you hear about that girl that was running out of the blue building? And the LAPD, who apparently you did groom very, very well, brought her right back. Just like the good old times, just so you are aware, Mike Rinder, how nothing has been accomplished. Zero. Kids are in the exact same level of clear and present danger, mind you. You're a father, Mike Rinder. You should know. You have kids that you did grow up with you. I mean, allegedly, you have them there. So in what world are you seeing them grow in those stages and you're not thinking, what in the F have we done when I was back in those hotels? What in the F did I pitch to the IRS? What in the F did I convince Monique Yingling to hang her law license on? Here's a statement. Mike Rinder, as someone who once held a position of immense influence within the Church of Scientology, you cannot now seek refuge in blame blame shifting, or selective memory. The reality is clear. As a high-ranking Sea Org member, you were complicit in the systemic abuses carried out under Scientology's watch. You were not a bystander. You actively participated in covering up systemic, horrific acts, including child trafficking, physical and mental abuse, and the most heinous crimes of sexual violence. Your recent videos come off not as a confession or an attempt to right past wrongs, but as an effort to rewrite history, painting yourself as a victim of circumstances or coercion. This is not only disingenuous, but deeply insulting to all the child survivors whose lives were destroyed by you under Scientology's regime. Many of whom been silenced, bullied, and fully dismissed. Just like that, like nothing happened. No. What? What'd you say happened to you? Oh no, you were having a religious experience. Yeah. Compliments of L. Ron Hubbard, the one you did the non-profit pro bono PR for Mike Rinder. Who created the image of L. Ron Hubbard? Who put L. Ron Hubbard on the New York Times bestseller list? Pat yourself in the back. Pat yourself in the literal back. Because nobody's saying that you are an idiot, that you are stupid, or that you're incapable. You're more than capable, Mike Rinder. Your products do speak for themselves. You have to undo them. You were L. Ron Hubbard's maker. That's what a publicist does. They create an image. And then come to find out, L. Ron Hubbard is just a PR machinery concocted by you, Marty, Dave, and whoever else in RTC thought it was a great idea to prop a full-blown convicted felon degenerate. That maybe 10 years ago, you were still thinking that he was a great daddy figure, and if only David wouldn't have been beating you up, then something would have changed for who? For you? For Mike Yeager? For Guillain Leserve? For Jenny Linson? For Angie Blankenship? For Debbie Cook? For Shelly Miscavige? For Pilar Saldarriaga? For who, Mike Rinder? For all the adults? The adults aren't going to be saved, Mike Rinder. Get that through your thick skull. It's the kids that are there right now that need the immediate rescue, the same rescue we needed when our parents were out of their MF minds, creating a clear and present danger every time they told us that we were a degraded being, a disgusting out ethics degenerate, a freeloader, all manner of insults that were groomed to children one by one. Really learn the definition of degenerate, really learn the definition of degraded being, really learn the definition of out ethics, really learn the definition of criminal exchange. You didn't create those definitions, Mike Rinder. That was your daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard, who pitched those to you. And you thought it was going to be a great idea to go and groom all parents to use that with their children. That's what you're responsible for. That's what you're responsible for. Just so you're not, confused. Don't be confused. Why were we groomed to learn word salad that a convicted felon wrote down? on very fancy books. Oh, look, there's Lisa. She's no longer here. Gee, wonder what happened to her, Mike Rinder. Wonder what happened to her. Wonder how much you hooked up Priscilla. Wonder how much you had to do with that little celebrity acquiring. Since y'all were going like this, oh, let's acquire this one. Let's grab this other one. FSM me this one. We'll give you 10%. Bring me another celebrity. Let's really prop up our fraud so that nobody notices that it's all a bunch of what? Of bullshit. From A to C, Mike Rinder, there's not one thing you can defend L. Ron Hubbard on. The one that you said was great on a mission to save our world. How stupid can you really be? Because your actions show that you're not stupid. Your actions show that you're extremely calculated, that you're extremely well at maneuvering attorneys. You got them like literally they should call you the attorney whisperer. Because literally since you were, you know, in your what, late 20s? Was it when you, Marty Rathbun, were really gung-ho? We're going to save our world. Let's bring all the kids into the childhood we just had for ourselves. If you didn't like your childhood, Mike Rinder, why did you normalize it for other kids? That's what you need to ask yourself in front of a mirror that really reflects on you. So you can't just dart away and misdirect and come up with another cacamimi story. We're done with the cacamimi stories, Mike Rinder. We cannot stand more cacamimi stories. It is exactly what this statement was saying, an insult to everybody, including yourself. And you know it. It's what's the problem. The problem is that you already know it. You already know what your withholds are, Mike Rinder. Why are you forcing us to come in to have and tell you? Take the initiative. Take the hard step of acknowledging what was really done on an industrial size scale. You have no plausible deniability. You have no, oh, I was told by L. Ron Hubbard, the one that you just admitted wasn't a trailer rotting. So if L. Ron Hubbard was on a trailer rotting and you were CC'd on knowing exactly how out of his MF mind that man was, Mike Rinder, how do you go to the IRS? How do you go to Monique Yingling and beg her to, on top of that, give tax write-off to self-admitted felons? In case you didn't notice, Mike Rinder, that's what the audits provide for all those sycophants that are paying to get their freak on inside of a Scientology hotel or commercial building, compliments of still you. Still you. You're the publicist. Who else is everyone supposed to go to? Who made the identity of L. Ron Hubbard what it's not? You brought Miriam's mother to America to be your slave painter and also bring her 3 children, right? So in what world are you pressed? That Miriam has already called you out. That Miriam has already told you that, yes, breaking news to you. She already had reported to the police, Mike Rinder. You made nobody no favors. Imagine being you, so staunchly sitting on something that is so patently false, even you cannot believe it. Continue misrepresenting yourself. Continue being a completely prolific liar. See if anybody can catch up to it, because apparently all manner of people either play dumb, either had their entire critical thinking skills compromised by a convicted felon that you propped up, or what? They're just wanting to see children enslaved. That's against the Constitution, Mike Rinder. In what world is a child you brought from Mexico having to tell you that? Slavery was abolished in the United States of America. There's supposed to be no more slavery. Yet you, with your little L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon for fraud, on the run with children and underage children all over the ship, that apparently all of y'all saw nothing wrong with that and thought, what a great childhood I had. Let me make other kids go through this. You know what happened to us, Mike Rinder? We cannot stand the fact that children are in our exact same shoes and nobody gives a little shit. That's the part. That's the part. The only thing that still stings is that everybody just plays dumb and just, oh, but I was told it was a religion. Yeah, they did tell me that. Yeah, that's what you pitched, Mike Rinder. In what world did that idea just create itself? Because that's what you act like. Oh, it just all just materialized. L. Ron Hubbard was dead in his grave, rotting with upwards of $1 billion in tax bills. But apparently it only took you, Marty, and David to resurrect him with the help of Monique and all the other attorneys that, like idiots, hired the three of you who didn't have high school, didn't have anything. You just read the policies of L. Ron Hubbard and said, oh my God, we really need to use this to really save our world. Maybe once upon a time you believed that bullshit, Mike Rinder. But you know what? Today, in this day, in this year 2024, that bullshit has been debunked from A to C. The source of your bullshit, something that you're fully aware of, something that you were a first-hand witness in knowing how dysfunctional L. Ron Hubbard was. If you really believe the pitch of the technology, if you really thought that locking kids against their will was therapeutic, double check that stupidity right now, Mike Rinder, and then recruit as many parents as you possibly can get a hold of and have them all denounce this at every FBI office that they can get a hold of. In what world do you think you're going to come off of propping up child trafficking on an industrial size scale and then make what amends? Self-serving things that helped you refurbish your image? Because apparently you are very good at refurbishing images. Apparently L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon that he was, a person on our quest to save our world, and apparently you the same. Imagine that. Imagine that you use your little PR techniques that you use to prop up a convicted felon and pitch him and sell him to every last idiot in America that has bought the pitch that a full-blown convicted felon was born and bred in America and had the great idea to save our world by bringing child slavery right back to the modern era at an industrial size scale. And then let's really export that across the world, because that would be a great idea. If we export it everywhere, then of course it's got to be legal, right? This is everywhere. Like a virus, like a cancer that metastasized in every last city where there's a hotel or commercial building going by the moniker Scientology. You are all full of shit and you all know it. How dare you continue to play dumb as if you have no clue? Start getting a clue. Start raising your confront. Start raising your awareness. This is something positive. Take the constructive criticism. Take the steps that are going to create systemic institutional case at the voice of now, not mañana, no, next year. It needs to stop right now, Mike Rinder. All abuse of kids needs to stop right now. And in what world do you think that's not your problem? Not my problem. I've done so much. Where's your product? Where is your product, Mike Rinder? Nowhere. Your product is nothing. It's nothing but an over product that continues to churn out, eat up, cannibalize literal childhoods at an industrial size scale. How does that not weigh in your literal head? How does that just go? No. Everyone's having a religious experience. I left. I told the FBI everything. Oh my God, I just had all these documents. You know, just tried my best. You were the architect, the legal architect. You ran strategy. What part of this is not clear to you? True accountability involves more than merely pointing fingers at others. It requires owning your part in perpetuating a system of harm. It requires you repudiating what was actually out ethics, Mike Rinder. So let's direct your attention away from the adults. Put the adult problems on pause. Whatever problem you're concerned about an adult and David Miscavige and beating you, put it all on pause. Ice it out. Freeze it. And now go over here, Mike Rinder. All kids that missed out on high school, that had their passport locked up, that were being brought from another country, that were being told by your office to lie to immigration on the way in. Those, start focusing on that. That's going to start fixing the problem. Forget about the adults. Forget about him. They consented. They went there with consent, Mike Rinder. That's the difference between adults and kids. Again, in case you have no idea what in the hell we're talking about, kids cannot consent. You have kids of your own. You know the ages they are. That's right about when Laura and I were being brought to that hotel. So you put yourselves in our shoes with your own kids and tell us what should be getting done, Mike Rinder, because you're a great legal mind. Come up with a plan then. In what world are you not coming up with a plan? In what world are you, not looped in with every single last OSA terminal that has left these hotels and commercial buildings? Do they all lose their conscience on their way out? Do they all lose their capacity to write overs and withholds, Mike Rinder? Time, place, form, and event, just like they taught you at the hotel. This time, run it by a lawyer, turn it into an affidavit, and then give it to the FBI. That's it. It's that simple. And then what happens? Then the abuse of kids, exactly as it was done with you. This happened to you. So yes, on top of that, it happened to you. On top of that, you were exposed. On top of that, you went and told the IRS that it was a great, amazing thing that was going to save our world. Apparently, at that point in your life, Mike Rinder, you really thought it was going to save our world, right? Welcome to present time, man. Today, in the year 2024, that couldn't be more pathetic, infantile, or delusional that you really can want to claim that that's what you really thought. You don't believe that yourself because you know that those are all contrary facts, what you've been regurgitating your whole entire life. L. Ron Hubbard's going to save a world. L. Ron Hubbard enslaved children. Make that make sense right there, that beginning part of that pitch. Because yes, all our parents turned us into slaves, Mike Rinder. If you dehumanize a child and tell them they're an adult, imagine what would happen. Again, go back to your own kids and think of that scenario, just hypothetically. Just hypothetically, if you ensnare them in an audit, ensnare them in a disgusting grooming course, ensnare them in an ethics interview, in what world wouldn't you literally do everything in your power to ensure that didn't happen? Because you should know by now how much they are looking up to you, how long they're literally Your judgment. That's what happens to kids, Mike Rinder. That's what happens in your developmental years. We weren't thetans. We weren't having to be disassociated from our bodies, being told that, oh, it's this, it's that. You have kids yourself right now. So before you go, I thought it was this and I thought it was that, revisit all the things you really thought. And put the filter of your own kids as you watch them grow through all of these stages. All of those stages, Mike Rinder, we were being abused by Scientology parents that told us we were degraded, disgusting, out ethics, good for nothings, criminal exchange, all manner of disgusting, degrading words that why in the hell were those being taught to kids? Where is that repudiated in your billion-year book? In what world do you have that level of omitted data on your book? And you go, oh yeah, this is all my OWs, you guys. This is all I did. Oh my God, yes, it's amazing. It's great. We're going to save another world. I'm on a mission to save another world. You haven't saved shit, Mike Rinder. Nobody has, in case you haven't noticed. In case you haven't noticed, nobody. This is the amount of change that has taken place in those hotels. This. The ages where children are most vulnerable, apparently, according to, all manner of your buddies. Not a problem, you guys. There's no more kids anymore. We've caught them running away. Check the current lives. Just so you see, when Miriam tried to do that back in the day, same shit happened. So imagine with you blabbing your mouth to all manner of LAPD people that you have feeding from your hand. All manner of attorneys that have gone to you. Oh, really? Tell us how it was there, Ghislaine Maxwell. Mike Rinder. It's called aiding and abetting in the recruitment of minors to put us to do disgusting things, including but not limited to massages in hotel rooms, Mike Rinder. Video recorded. Feel my finger, feel my finger, feel my finger. Why the hell was I 12? Feel my finger. Oh, here's a doll. Your grandma's going to teach you how to touch the doll so that when you go into the hotel, you don't just feel it and you're just, oh, feel my finger everywhere. So what? So you think Ghislaine arranging massages, oh, do you have any tight clothes or shoes on, that were taking off their pants in front of us, Mike Rinder? We were minors. We were the age of your kids right now. Just so that really sinks into you. In what world is a 12-year-old asking an adult if they really want to loosen up their pants? Think for a second how far you took it, the fact that we were adults. Just think. Because again, you're not stupid, so you are playing stupid, and playing stupid is not helping you. Playing stupid is not alchemizing your situation. You are carrying a burden. You are carrying a big load that no matter how much you try to camouflage, oh no, look over there, it was this, it was that, tell it like it is. Time, place, form, and event, Mike Rinder, you're perfectly been trained since birth to report the facts like that. Stop feeding us altered importances. Stop feeding us omitted data. Stop feeding us altered time. Stop feeding us altered sequence. Stop it. We're not children. We're not gullible. We're not eating your bullshit. We're calling on you to have a moniker of dignity, a shred for our sake. If it doesn't matter to you, then do it for us. So we don't have to keep doing this. So we don't have to keep literally begging people to give an F. True accountability requires owning your part in perpetuating a system of harm. All of our parents bought your pitch, Mike Rinder. When my parents in Mexico were told that this was a New York Times bestseller, they were very impressed. So impressed that when they read that a 7-year-old little girl can get kissed by an adult and it could just be blamed on that 7-year-old girl, they thought, yeah, this is sounding religious. Imagine that. Imagine that you're turning paternal and maternal instincts against a parent. That's the crime, Mike Rinder. Not every child has a great childhood. Not every childhood has that as a guarantee. No. But in our case, every kid that grows up with parents that are grooming them a disgusting language end up with a burden that we would not wish on our literal worst enemy. It's really that simple. It's not complicated. It's been made very complicated. And part of that has been your delusionary state that you've been in order to shift so fast from one set of facts to another short story that you're going to give. So it really sounds like you're coming clean, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to really tell you everything. Let me write my tell-all book. Let me really write everything. We were there, Mike Rinder. We shouldn't have been there. That's the problem. That's your problem. That's Debbie Cook's problem. That's Angie Blankenship's problem. It's a problem that you don't have to carry on your own shoulders. Don't worry about it. You have plenty of co-conspirators to add to your list. Because as you would know, legal definitions, as you would know what racketeering stands for, as you did play a big part in engineering the legal framework required to resurrect L. Ron Hubbard from his billion-dollar tax hold that he had, and how you just, oh, we're going to do amazing things over here. We're going to do amazing things over there. Applied scholastics. Check the lawsuit towards applied scholastics, Mike Rinder. One of your great amazing things that we're really going to change the education. Well, imagine the Delphis all applied the L. Ron Hubbard technology for essay. That's your legacy. Schools, Mike Rinder. So before you go, oh, religion. This has nothing to do with religion, right? It's all just education on a website, on come to Delphi. Get essayed by a PE teacher that we all find out about. Because they would have them be writing OWs there at Delphi, Mike Rinder. They would teach that to the kids too, by the way. So all the Delphi teachers know. And imagine mandated reporter, I guess they have no idea what the hell that means at the Delphi schools. Because they're all just applying a technology pitched by the convicted felon you said was on a mission to save a world. So everywhere you look, it's just smeared with excrement. That apparently you're the only one that doesn't smell or doesn't think has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with me. You are the literal leader of the Nothing to Do With Me club. Remember that one that you used to tell us as children? Oh, don't be part of the Nothing to Do With Me club, you guys. Well, imagine you are literally that, the master and commander of the Nothing to Do with Me Club. Because apparently nothing had anything to do with you. Even Granberry said you never apologized for fair gaming him. Imagine that. Have you apologized to any child that had a horrific childhood because of your personal obsession with L. Ron Hubbard? Who was obsessed with L. Ron Hubbard? Who had the obsession? We had the same childhood. We are repudiating, denouncing, nauseated beyond that this is still going on as we speak. If you went through the situation and you haven't done everything in your power to stop it on other kids, what type of literal point can you be making about like, well, no one came and saved me? Well, who have you saved? Well, no one. Well, good. It's incumbent upon you to have that disgusting childhood and then denounce it, repudiate it. Tell it like it is. How disgusting was it? The outpoint is that you're not disgusted. The outpoint is that you're not nauseated. The outpoint is that you're not incensed. But you want us to go back to, oh, let's all really get along and, talk a lot of shit. That created the exact reason we're still exactly here in the year 2024. Mike Rinder, since 1993. 2003, 1 decade. 13, 2 decades. 23, 3 decades. So 31 years. That self-admitted felons, as you would know, Mike Rinder. In what world are we breaking those news to you? You taught us that as kids. Oh, yeah, pull the specifics, get all of that, right, Claire? It's not what was being taught in every single one of those disgusting grooming courses. How about the internships? Who was watching the videos of the children being interrogated and giving a very well done, yeah, you really did it flawlessly. Aren't you so technically perfect? Disgusting. Disgusting beyond. In what world are you not disgusted beyond? Where can we see evidence that you are? Go check your entire public record, please. Do a compilation. Oh, you've already exposed all these things and you repudiated and you sounded the alarm and why is anyone so upset about anything? We really tried our best. Where is that repudiation on the public record, Mike Rinder? Where? Where can that be found? Why were kids being sent to these hotels to become auditors as children? That was still being done. Check that interview. Check that interview. I mean, this girl was sent from Pasadena to Las Vegas to get married, Mike Rinder, as a minor, as a child. That practice was started with you, Rosa Int. The lawsuit that is in the courthouse right now, the child bride that is denouncing that as we speak, was in your network. So yeah, back in the day, child brides was a thing. Repudiated now. In what world did you fail to mention any of that? The problem is that you never mention anything that matters. You always mention all the other things you want everyone to get bamboozled about. We're sick. We're tired. We're not interested. You should be interested in the same, is what the problem is. You shouldn't have to be convinced that the kids are the most vulnerable. You are a father. You understand that. You have access to understand that and know that on a first-hand basis. But by truth that hides beneath veils spun, the facts no longer can be spun. By fires dimmed, our battles are won. Daddy, is your influence what the fuck is gone? We break the chains you dare to weave, expose the lies, forming all the shadows to finally leave, contingent on all of the innocence that was not yours to give. If you don't like it, leave. It's legal advice going forward, Daddy. What you really need to heed. Stop making children bleed. It's your advice, Daddy. What I will never need. With words like blades, invoking the full power of the sun, there won't be a shred of shade. Feel my blade, Daddy. Thank you. Let's give you a touch assist. I didn't want to be touched, Daddy. Yet you insist. How the fuck was I supposed to resist? We cut the mist, unravel webs that coiled like a snake and twist. The hollow oaths, all cursed with sound. Your empire falls. Our innocence can be found at the hotels lost and found. We don't have time for another round. Awaken eyes, a piercing light of beam. For no more will we serve your spell. It's your past that is calling, Daddy. And he says, you need to dwell. Oh well. Dust to dust and ash to ash, your secrets burn, your corrupt power dashed. We seal this vow, fierce and loud, to walk unchained. It's your judgment, Daddy. What the fuck was cloud? Are you really going to remain forever proud? Say it loud and clear. Attesting underage kids to the state of clear. Illegal AF, consequences will be severe. The fact, Daddy, that you will find your evil intentions were never sincere. Your son is queer. And you use that as a smear? Smear campaign. Get an umbrella, Daddy, because it's with your crimes that are about to start to rain. Make you aware of our pain. You and I are not the same. Lame, Lame. It's time for you to atone. It's time for you, daddy, to find your shame. Kids is what the fuck should have been included ever in your adult-only game. It's game over, like Crimson and Clover. Over and over. That's over. I know the chat has been going off, and I do want to hear from all of you guys. Thank you so much for holding space. I really appreciate it. Exactly, Minion. I'm hoping this is just Rinder's first set of video releases. Well, I hope he listens to the feedback. I hope he takes it seriously. And I hope that no more kids are stuck inside the Scientology hotels. Whatever anybody needs to do, do it. Try your best, try harder, try every day, try every hour. There's plenty of ways that the problem can be stopped. And that's all we are trying. Thank you, Cajun Yu. Isabella deserves better on TM. I mean, Isabella is the exact reason that we know that all these problems are alive and well and couldn't be more systemic, institutionalized, repeated. It's a sick game of blind leading the blind, you guys. They really did tell us that at the hotel when we were kids. That was the big finding that David Miscavige apparently had. The blind has been leading the blind. And then they come up with more drills to groom more the dysfunction. So they're right. The blind is leading the complete blind. But at one point, they have to open their eyes because it's definitely eyes wide shut. Scientology up north, yes. And he said he doesn't watch the Survivors channels. Why? Because he doesn't want to face what he's done. I mean, again, you guys, the fact that we are being projected on, like, you guys are so toxic, like, you guys, this Mike Rinder, we are lucky to be alive. So it sucks to be us, to be honest. Like, yeah, none of us are well. None of us are okay. So you can relax. But you know what? We are doing everything we can still, showing up in whatever brokenness and dysfunction that you want to project we have. We have all of that and then some. And yet, all that matters right now is that the kids that went through exactly everything we went through are still being abused in the exact same way. Nothing has changed. Nothing has been toned down. Nothing has been scaled back. Nothing has been prohibited. No special arrangements have been done whatsoever. So whatever L1 Hubbard propped up is still going on. And you know, you really talked about the psychopath on your blog. Well, go get some self-reflection. Because you know what? Let's go. Let's go. Gaslit. They are pushing Handmaid's Table and they think they're getting it. I mean, yeah. Handmaid's Tale. Like, it's all right there. It's all been role played by Hollywood. Like, the way we were forced to live as children in The Handmaid's Tale is literally closer to the truth than anything else that you can see out there about documentaries of this and documentaries of that. Fake army, check mark. absolute control, unthinkable, indefensible, patriarchal, disgusting, not logical whatsoever. Check mark, you know. Coffee, Colts, and Crafts. Love you, Serge. Never shut up. Thank you so much. Yes, no more kids in Scientology. Scientology up north. I'm tired of adults having interpersonal issues out in the open. Stop throwing smear at each other and talk about the kids. I mean, literally, that's it. Just, if you couldn't save your own childhood, try and save another childhood. Another kid right now that is stuck right there with Scientology parents telling them, you really need an audit. You really are acting griefy. You really need to come up tone. All those things that we recognize now that are signs of disgusting domination that do not belong anywhere near a child's ears, much less getting groomed, much less getting educated to understand that. Leave the kids alone. Period. Full stop. If all Scientology parents stop, we would be getting somewhere. If that's the only thing we can get, let them continue doing whatever in the hell they want. Just stop doing it to kids. That's it. That's simple. Denounce it all, renounce it all, put all safety guards in place so no one gets to a Scientology hotel without an ID that shows they're 21 and up, at least, at minimum. And if you still don't get what's wrong with that picture, then really double check, because again, you guys, like, it's not that hard to understand what's wrong. It's actually very easy. It calls for common sense. What was this all devoid of? Common sense. So it's all it is. It's just a matter of, we need to go back to common sense. We need to go back to maternal and paternal instincts should be in those childhoods, not compromised by whatever a convicted felon wrote down on a piece of paper. It's time to make the admission and tell the full truth. Admit your culpability and truly apologize. We'll respect you, my Rinder. We know the rhetoric of the convicted, disgusting, degenerate, going by the name of L. Ron Hubbard. You did implement all his disgusting, sick ideas. Were they yours? You resurrected them off the ground. That's what you have to contend with and figure out how to reverse that. That's it. All of these disgusting ideas were all L. Ron Hubbard's. Everyone else's personalized ideas were canceled according to that degenerate. That's how compromised he got all of our parents as a collective. If that's not sick, then I don't know what is. We continue to speak on it because we give an F. We care. We don't want you to continue doing this. We don't want more Scientology parents to go and be told stupid misinformation, idiotic pitches that have nothing to do with them bettering their family. The self-entitlement of parents is not good for their kids. Let parents figure it out. Let kids figure it out. Let families figure it out. That's it. Rage Against the Dark. Thank you for addressing Mike Rinder's mountain of lies and avoidance of accountability. I mean, I'm sorry for what was said about you, Miriam, because it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. And again, the fact, I cannot even imagine if Debbie Cook was doing this to me. At least Debbie Cook isn't hiding from me. At least she's not going on the public record and denying as if I don't exist, as if she didn't bring me into the hotel. Rinder, you had everything to do with having Miriam and her two underage brothers trafficked from your home country, Australia. So before you go, oh, I really told the LAPD. In what world did you not tell the LAPD that? Oh, you know what? This child that came here that was SA'd, I brought her here. You, her mother, I targeted her mother. I recruited her mother. I got a statistic for it. How do you think you're not responsible when you were responsible? How do you think that Miriam is supposed to, oh, she didn't figure out, she had a police report on the record, Mike Rinder. Go and check that so you can completely see that, you know, the lies are coming in mountains, in droves. How disgusting to use this precious time and limited ability to make videos to clear toxins and still not make a shred of accountability for literally anything. I mean, Mike Rinder, it's like plenty people see it. It's sad. It's sad. It's unnecessary. It's uncalled for. Hello out at LA. Thank you for standing up with us and helping us. Well, guess us flying monkeys are too stupid to know when we're being gaslit. I mean, thank you, Misty. I guess we're not supposed to know. I guess we're supposed to be very confused and not know anything about anything. We're very clear on the facts, Mike Rinder. Now we are. And you're right, it's taken us decades to have to uncompartmentalize the most painful memories of our most terrorized years, where we had nothing to grab a hold of. We just had a bunch of deranged adults role-playing in military uniforms that they were saving our world, forcing us into slavery, forcing us to be puppets, punishing us if we skipped something on the script. We were turned into full-blown robots for y'all. Underage. 12. The age of your kids today. So the problem is right there in your home. Restimulate your own withhold with that. Try that. Try and see if maybe that starts shaking you. The survivors deserve truth and transparency. I mean, we're not going to be able to move forward until that happens. And there's a lot to discuss and a lot to really break through. All of these lies, all of these delusions, like, stop. Don't pretend. Don't pretend. Speed is of the essence. Every day a child is there locked up against their will, Mike Rinder. Felonies are being committed. Every day. Check the law. It's not our just, oh, you guys are so crazy. And no, check the laws. Or go double check with one of your attorney buddies. Ask them if holding someone against their will that is an underage child is against the law, yes or no. Because your grandmaster daddy, L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon that he was and is, said to do that to kids at an industrial size scale. And adults were paying for that time to go get that service from underage kids, Mike Rinder. Kids say, yeah, we don't hear a lot about it, right? Because Natalie Galbiati's still in there. And so are all the other girls that were trained to be auditors underage, all the other boys that were trained to be auditors underage, where you even haven't developed who in the hell you are, what you want, what you like, what you don't like, you don't know. You don't know. You have no idea. You're just moldable clay in the hands of whatever your father, mother tell you, whatever your grandfather, grandmother tell you, then whatever these hotel people tell you, and then you're just stuck. And our reality is built that goes against your best interest in every single situation, Mike Rinder. There's no scenario where a child isn't being weaponized, contracts being weaponized against them, essays being weaponized against them. Nothing floats, Mike Rinder. Felonies do not float. They don't. The technology was fake. Couldn't be more fake. It couldn't be more delusional. It couldn't be more based on delusions of grandeur of a convicted felon. Exactly. Thank you, guys. Lamichi, I know. I know. Our heart aches on a daily basis. Our heart bleeds on a daily basis. Problem that was swept under a rug that caused the worst nightmare childhood anyone could ever wish on a worst enemy goes unchecked. And we see all the evidence of that continuing to just, everybody goes like, what's anyone worried about? Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. And no matter how much evidence is presented to the contrary, no. Cajun, I thank you. Well, and it matters, you guys. I mean, because as survivors of this abuse, we are aware. And, you know, the fact that we are calling out our parents is not projection. We don't wish this on our worst enemies. Can you imagine literally Liz Ferris have to come forward and be like, I'm no longer looking for my dad. We're looking for answers. We're looking for accountability. When accountability arrives, kids get freed from their situation. Kids stop getting told that they're degraded, disgusting, out of ethics beings. They get groomed to know what that means. Might look real stupid to you guys. Might be like, well, you know, I mean, some of you have told me, like, how in the hell could they ever call a child that? But children are told that with a full straight face. You're in a lower condition. You're in treason. You betrayed us. 8 years old. Go to your room and write down how you betrayed us. Like, that's sadistic, indefensible abuse. And we're way, way, way too late for it to still be called anything else. This is all that's being asked. Helping a few victims does not equate to preventing further victims of the same abuse. Thank you, advocate, because that's the exact point. It's just, you know, our childhoods are gone. There's nothing to recover. You guys, the damage is done. You can't relive a childhood. You can't put yourself back together. Your nervous system is already destroyed. The damage is done. But then imagine that the damage continues as every day people keep playing dumb with the opportunity, with the chance to make a different choice. Because that's what it does. The sun and the moon, they come up, they go down. Every single time that happens, there's a chance for you to choose different, for all of our parents to choose different, for all the Scientology parents to go, we were out of our MF minds. We were lied to. We were defrauded. We are disgusted. This is going to stop. We're going to denounce it. We're going to tell other parents to stop doing it. It took all of them as a collective of adults agreeing to something so disgusting to be normalized at this level. And now the Scientology parents that have left owe it to all other parents to ensure that they advocate for them. Don't abuse your kids the way I did. Don't F up the way I did. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from my stupidity. Learn from horrible things that were done in the past by me. Things that I thought were really going to save our world. Today I realized they weren't saving shit. Today I realized I was taken for an idiot. So who needs to be told? Who needs to be converted back to common sense? Because that's what we're begging people to do. The quicker they come to their senses, the quicker they adopt common sense instead of whatever the convicted felon said on a piece of paper that's not helping anything. Thank you, literally no one. We so appreciate your advocacy. And again, it's going to take a village of concerned citizens, as you all are, invested in this rightful cause, given the fact that the abuse is happening as we speak. Thank you. I get it, but at least he exposed Aaron for the snake he is. Yeah, well, the problem that I have with this is, again, is altered importance. Mike Rinder needs to start focusing on the things that are going to make a difference right now as we speak, from the position he held as the Office of Special Illegal Affairs. Because that's what's going to make a difference to the kids. You know, that's my point about that. It's like, look, there's plenty of dysfunction to go around. Ain't nobody walking around not dysfunctional and handicapped after an entire lifetime of abuse. So if anybody is expecting perfection, you know what? This is not the place you're going to get it. Because as much as they told us as kids to be technically perfect, it effed us. So it sucks. It sucks to be us, but it sucks more that there's kids being raised in the exact same level of stupidity, unhinged abominations, all propped up by a convicted felon. That's what sucks even more. Truth, transparency, justice, and resolution is what we need. I mean, that's it. Like, who likes who doesn't like who said where, who said what? People keep saying this, people keep saying that. Sure, but going back to the same exact point, if people's attention are so dispersed because they're keeping track of all of these things going on over here with this one, who said that one, who made that video, who took it down, why did you do this, why'd you... Meanwhile, all of that attention cannot get focus from advocacy efforts to hit the problem where it's happening, existing on a daily basis. So, and these 4 things that you just wrote here, Miriam, are the solution. Let's change our focus to what? To truth, transparency. This is what the audits were. This is what the disgusting grooming courses do. This is what the ethics handlings are. None of them are child appropriate. These are the child brides. None of that is okay. None of that is appropriate. They told us it was great. They told us it was wonderful. They told us it was legal. It isn't. We bought the false fake pitch. We thought everything was great and wonderful. It sucks that we did think that for ourselves, given that our formative years were spent convincing us that there was validity, that there was good faith. But there's no good faith when kids are getting abused 24/7. Another outpoint contrary fact. Saving a world, kids get abused 24/7. Nope, those 2 things cannot coexist. Sorry. Rejected. Holly Lewis, if anyone thinks that you'll get an apology from an abuser, you'll never will. You will have to heal yourself. And apologies don't heal, right? Because apology is one thing, but it's the fact that kids are still getting abused, Holly. You know, nobody expects anything to change. What was done to us, they can say, oh, I'm really sorry. And, whatever it is, it's, like I said, not much of anything will change what happened to us. It's just the fact that the advocacy needs to be hyper focused on the clear and present danger. And this moment calls for that. Because if Mike Rinder is still blabbing about all of this other gossip, chisme, that's what you call el chisme in Spanish. Chisme. Oh, somebody told me this. Somebody said that. Someone said on Reddit that blah. Who the F gives an F? Kids got audited today? Yes. Kids got told they were degraded, disgusting beings? Yes. Kids were sent to the RPF today? Yes. Kids were married as child brides? Yes. So who the hell has time to go chase up all the gossip, mongering, chismes of whatever in the hell dysfunction? Anything can be propped up with blah, blah, and blue. It's just like, who the F cares? Who the F literally cares? We need actions in the physical universe that lead to change in the physical universe, and that's still not being seen with all efforts, mine included, everyone's included. All of us have utterly failed. There's no product. Nothing has changed for kids. So you know what? Nothing has been accomplished. Nothing. Zero progress. Child brides, alive and well. Child audits, alive and well. Kids getting signed up on billion-year contracts, alive and well. So let's come to the real facts of the situation instead of thinking that anything was going anywhere or anything was being done about the problem that Mike Rinder even refuses to acknowledge exists, because he won't even hashtag anything with no more kids in Scientology, with no more child brides in Scientology, with kids cannot consent. You're right. $11.11. Would you share? I stand with you, Serge. No more kids in Scientology. Peace and love to you, Michael, and the chat. Thank you so much. And exactly, Serge. Time's up, Mike. It's time to pay the piper and help all the children who have struggled every day with the trauma that you inflicted on them to begin with. Let's stop now and end this evil. Time is up. And again, Mike, this is a horrific, disgusting, unthinkable tragedy. Were you at the top of that pyramid scheme? You were. Did you deserve that? We wouldn't wish this on our worst enemy. No one deserved to be bamboozled by L. Ron Hubbard, including you. Including you. You didn't deserve that. So it needs to stop. But in order to stop, it needs to be assist. And in order to be assist, you cannot have lies. You cannot have omitted data. You cannot have altered sequence. You cannot have contrary facts. You can't have any of that. Because as long as that is there, the lie continues to persist. We're saving our world. We really want to. There's a lot of charity going on over here. There's no charity being done when kids are being abused 24/7. Contrary fact, lie. So the sooner the better. Ironic that Rinder drags Aaron on his alleged exploits, then later explains Miscavige used sex secrets to humiliate and degrade people. Self-awareness flunk. I mean, yeah, Mike Rinder is like, that's the point. It's like, it's the self-awareness for me. It's like, look, don't defend. There's nothing to defend anymore. It's not worth it. The only thing that matters is prevention. The only thing that matters. Going forward, how many more kids won't get audited? How many more kids won't get essayed and told it's their fault? Mike Rinder, that's still being done as we speak. Even after you left, even after every single one of us has left, it still has not changed at all. That's the problem. That's the outpoint. That's the altered importance that you're not confronting. Kids cannot be told that they pulled in their essay. Period. Anybody that's telling a kid that they pulled in their essay is complicit in a felony. That's what it's called, Mike Rinder. When somebody touches a child, it's called that. When you expose adults and children at industrial size scales, all intermingled in these hotels, where it doesn't matter how puritanical y'all were pretending to be. That bred the disgusting derangement. In case you're too stupid to connect that dot. Oh, let's just do an experiment. Lock up all these underage kids. Lock up all these adults. Tell them no one can have sex because we're so puritanical in this hotel. And we're really checking if anybody does do it. And then what, Mike Rinder? Once you check, once you video record, once you transcribe, once you write it in a KR, once you write it to your OSA telex, once you talk about it at Perimeter Council, once the senior CS finds out about it, once the deputy senior CS finds out about it, once the Qualsec also found out about it, and also the RTC rep found out about it, and also the DIR, well, she's at it, and also the HAS, and also everyone at staff meeting when they were told, this is the child that was essayed this week. Oh, they went out 2D, right? That was the little code word. No one didn't know kids were getting essayed inside of those hotels, Mike Rinder. There's not a single staff member that can say, oh, I never heard, I never was told. They were all told on Thursdays at their staff meeting. What was the flap of the week? Who didn't keep their dick in their pants? Let's tell everybody. Let's really send the message of ethics of our puritanical, disgusting culture that wasn't puritanical, that wasn't ethical, that was disgusting, that was depraved, that was Hunger Games on steroids. Because that was really going to work out. All underage kids mingle and mix with adults, you know, have your entire hormones and developmental years in close quarter with adults, Mike Rinder, why was that done? Why is that still being done right now as we speak? In what world are kids really being told that they were volunteers to this? Thank you, literally no one. Let's not allow them to distract us from the issue at hand. Claire's scroll busters with a single mission to drag second gens. I mean, again, Claire, you have avoided all scrutiny. Imagine you, with your RTC overview, are Mike Rinder on steroids. Imagine you were there till your 30s doing this as a full RTC rep that you really thought you were. It's time to come off your cloud and your delusion and start talking about all the CSWs of RPF children that we were sending to Shelly Miscavige. So you couldn't have been more up to your neck and ears in knowing at RTC what child was essayed by who, what, when, where. Having a video recorded of that, doing all of that, Claire. It would be a great time for you to also come forward and discuss that and expose that, repudiate it, show us. Tell us what we don't know already. We weren't in RTC. We didn't have the level of access of overview. Some of us were peons at the bottom of the scale, robotically sending whatever in the hell our senior told us to give you, breathing down our necks. Ex-witness Vernon, I believe Rinder did all of that fully indoctrinated as a Scientologist. If he would have done that without being brainwashed, that's a different story. Sure. I mean, going back to this indoctrination, brainwash, like, let's get to the devils in the details again. Because going back to Mike Rinder was the publicist of L. Ron Hubbard. Who packaged L. Ron Hubbard as the genius that he wasn't? Who knew L. Ron Hubbard was a convicted felon, degenerate, rotting on a trailer, and resurrected that? Because that's the part that, where was the brainwashing then? I mean, anyone can claim they've been brainwashed. Everyone can claim they were indoctrinated, but it's the age bracket that you did this in and every step that you've taken since that really determines what in the literal hell your production record on being part of this problem truly is. Because yes, I already stated it on the record. All the ideas that were disgusting came from convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. The problem with Mike Rinder is that he was the publicist of L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was supposed to be dead. This was supposed to be shut down. And it was Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, and David Miscavige that were all about resurrecting this out of the ground when they themselves already knew that they were full of shit, that they were not saving a world, that there was nothing that they were doing inside of those hotels that was okay to be doing, because it goes against common sense, you guys. I mean, literally lock up a child against their will is not common sense. So that's the only problem with that. Mike's just doing what he does best. Play victim, pretend he's a hero, and make believe perverted story and get sympathy points because universal karma came to him in the most expected way. I mean, yeah. But there's a way where you could maybe get your withholds restimulated, Mike Rinder, and then hopefully then, because again, consider us doing you a favor. Stop. I mean, you talk about combativeness. You have been combative. You have been combating the facts. The facts is what's being combated. The problem today is what's being combated. The most vulnerable victims out of all the things that you know go on at these hotels 24/7, 365, Mike Rinder, that's what's being combated. That's what makes no sense. Why is that being defended? Why is that not getting repudiated? Why is that not getting acknowledged? Why are more parents not incensed with themselves? Why do we only have Cece admitting that, yes, it was a crime? It is what it's called in the law. That's it. It's just, is this what it is? It's like, it's a crime. Okay. Then now what? And with more awareness, more change could happen. You know that. Swedish Lena, I have to say, I found the videos to be quite self-serving. At no point did he admit that he had done anything wrong, such as putting Miriam's police file in the regrettable blog post. Nothing about it. Nothing about Miriam. I mean, again, Mike Rinder, you came going after Miriam like nobody cares, Mike Rinder. Nobody cares. Stop curating your image. Nobody cares. Nobody. Forget and let live. I mean, the only reason it matters, you guys, is that the problem still persists. So what is there to forgive? What is there to let live? Because believe you me, all those attacks were calculated. In what world did he step off every board and then come attacking anything that moves, that threatens his delusion? You know? Julie B., Serge does not render anything. Rinder owes the kids. We all are owing the kids. Kids are owed advocates, you guys. That's why we're all here. You guys get it? You guys understood the assignment. Kids are owed advocates. If they cannot advocate for themselves, they are effed. Their survival is dependent on people that can think for them. How would it be to be those girls that just escaped that are now probably getting abused as we speak? How can we change that? How can we help? How can we make sure that that doesn't happen anymore? Since Miriam did that and she was brought back to her abusers, since the girls that just escaped were brought back to be abused more, to be told that there are ethics, that the only reason they could have escaped is because they have withholds. That's what L1 Hubbard says. So that's what they're getting told at the hotel. Oh, you really did that because you have withholds. You are disgusting, degraded. And that's what those kids are owed. People that go, no, I'm sorry, you cannot be doing that. That's sick. That's disgusting. Don't tell that child that is exhibiting every literal indicator of being abused, then be told that she's responsible for pulling in, getting abused, Mike Rinder. You did talk about pulling it in. Kids are still being told that they're pulling it in. So focus your attention back to that. That's what's being asked, because that's what's owed to the kids that are there right now. We're not asking you for anything. We're lucky to be alive. We're lucky to have a pulse. We're lucky to be breathing and sharing. Plenty of us, Mike Rinder, and there's a long list of that scroll that, Claire really wanted to go after. That little scroll that must have really stimulated y'all's withholds because we put it in writing and we showed you all a scintilla of the kids that you all abused from your high and mighty positions of delusional power. That we wouldn't have wished that on you, Claire Headley, or you, Mike Rinder. We wouldn't wish for anyone to end up doing that disgusting shit. And since y'all were right there, double check. Double check. Who else in the RTC network, Claire, shouldn't be there? Who else should you be advocating? And what should you be saying? Think about that long and hard and true. Own your shit. Raise your confront of evil. Stop giving paperclip withholds. Stop pretending ethics change. There's no ethics change anywhere to be found. There's zero indicators of any ethics change being made by anyone who has left these disgusting hotels and commercial buildings. Other than, Cece. That did admit it. That did say what it was. That did say she'll take responsibility. She'll take accountability. She doesn't want more kids to go through that. It's that simple. It's not like we need 100 shades of gray and this one, that. It's that simple. Own what in the hell happened to ensure it doesn't happen to other kids. Look at it from that perspective. What should I have done differently? What did I normalize that is disgusting and abominable that I need to confront today? I mean, another one, Mike Rinder, but I guess you'd never watch our shit, so you have no idea. But yeah, what about the 2-year window of the SA in California? I mean, as if the Catholic Church, Mike Rinder, just an FYI, 3 weeks ago, breaking news, $800 million were paid out to survivors. So imagine you on the board of Child USA that you didn't get kicked out and you really want to come after Miriam and Miriam, you didn't achieve anything and everybody wanted me and, Marcy Hamilton told us to go fuck ourselves. Really? Marcy Hamilton? That's how the chairman of the board of Child USA talks? Tell them to go fuck themselves? Okay, well, we're going to tell you then. And if you have any problem with us telling you, Marcy Hamilton, to go and fuck yourself, take it up with Mike Rinder. Because allegedly he says you told us to go fuck ourselves. So you know what? You and your little group of whatever it is that you call yourselves can go and fuck your literal selves. Since your board member that you really tapped to really help happened to help no one that he was aware needed the help. Imagine that. Imagine you gave off the same all right. Oh yeah, you were the intaker of Child USA for the Scientology kids because you were aware of all of us, Mike Rinder. You're right. You've been CC'd. You've been looped in. You've been told. You've had access to all the data. So where's the evidence that you gave an F? Where it mattered? Where you could have been getting props. Oh my God, you guys. Scientology just gave 80 kids that filed lawsuits admitting that they have it all on video, that they transcribed it all. Our criminal cases are not hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, given the fact that our abusers, our captors, our child traffickers, our essayers recorded it all chronologically. In a PC folder, in an ethics file, in a personnel file, in a telex, you have no idea the amount of corroborating points of reference that can be found. If anyone could really dispel and decodify your files that are written in code, Mike Rinder, so no one can tell. Well, you know what? The kids that grew up in those hotels, we can tell. We can tell. And no wonder you didn't want us to have the files, because we saw what we saw with our own two eyes. And it fully corroborated the fact that you have been full of shit and you know it. So don't talk about, oh, the files, I didn't want them to go out because what? Because what exactly? I hope he listens. He doesn't have much time left. I mean, whether you listen or not, Mike Rinder, the record will be corrected. As a favor to you, consider us not wanting you to go to your grave with delusions. If we care about you, we tell you the hard truths that you need to confront. If we don't give an F about you, yeah, go F yourself. Oh yeah, don't think about anything. Oh yeah, you really tried to save a planet. You think those are your friends? The ones that just co-signed all your BS? The ones that don't tell you to wake up, to actually step into your power. If you don't want to step into your power, that's on you. That's the legacy you leave behind. I know, Holly, you're on the side of healing, and healing requires reconciliation of unthinkable facts and unthinkable truths and unthinkable priorities that for some indefensible reason have not been made the top priority. And we're still exactly stuck where we are. We cannot heal without those facts getting confronted and exposed. At the beginning, we confronted and exposed on Mike Rinder, we lost all hope. So this is just a fact that we have to respond in order to advocate, because we've been literally gaslit ad nauseum on every corner of this journey, trying to advocate for a day that no more kids get screwed up in there. No healing is happening to those kids. None. Kumbaya. Kumbaya doesn't help anybody. Everybody getting along and smiling is kumbaya. The work ahead is astronomical. It's going to require an exorbitant amount of correct estimation of effort. You know, if a warehouse is full of disgusting mold and rats infested, you know, we can spray a little water bottle in it and it's not going to change anything. So we're talking about bringing industrial bleach machines. We're talking about emptying everything that's there. Doesn't matter that it's been there for decades and everybody thought it was great and wonderful. You know what? It's time to double check if it's great and wonderful to have mildew rotting all over the tables, all over the kitchenware, all over everywhere, proliferating everything inside of these disgusting hotels of dysfunction. You know, without that, we're just not getting anywhere. There's nothing to heal if we can't even admit what needs to be healed. Yeah, and you know, we'll reach out to anybody. They're not reaching out to us. Like, what is there to reach out about? Like, we put information in the public record. That's called reaching out. I mean, if anybody thinks that we put these videos on and we go on, you know, you type on your YouTube and go, but not Mike Rinder, but not Claire Headley, but not any Scientology parent, but not anyone. No, we're all coming forward and spilling our guts, disgusted that nothing has changed, no matter how clear we've been about the need for it to really change. You know, we did start to see something from Cece telling it like it is and saying that she was going to go to LAPD and show them the laws that were being violated. I mean, imagine if the LAPD would have already had 100 interviews with Scientology parents that said, yes, we were driven out of our mind. Oh, you're not within statutes, but you know what? We're concerned that other kids are being put through the exact same problem. It's not sustainable. Oh, well, we thought it was a religion then, but now we don't. So now we need to do something about it. Before he came out, he should have confessed the things that he did. I do think that thought people were under mind control, but they should state what they did, like Cece is. And yes, everybody was under mind control, you guys. No one was not. The whole thing about the toxic rhetoric of L. Ron Hubbard is it put every single last shred of human, dehumanized, depersonalized, under delusions of grandeur, false delusions of grandeur that made them all believe that being like L. Ron Hubbard, thinking like L. Ron Hubbard was in their best interest. It never was, it never is, it never will be. That's what needs to be repudiated. Everybody knows what it is. And there's just not enough of that repudiation. And that's getting called out in hopes that people will go, well, you know what? You're right. We do know how to come clean. We do know how to write our overs and our withholds. We do know how to write time, place, form, an event. We do know how to check the law so we see if, oh, that was violated. Oh, that was violated. Oh, I did lock up my child against this will. Oh. And with all of that awareness, people go, okay, let's not do this to more kids. You know? Rinder, the Headleys, and their scroll busters are sadists feeding off the misery and pain they inflict on others. I mean, that was what L. Ron Hubbard entitled all his surrogate sycophants. The ability to do that with a straight face, the ability to get away with it, the ability to pretend that they're helping, that they're superior, get laid off the superiority complex. It's not cute. It's not grounded in any type of reality. It's an inverted superiority complex, what you have, because you couldn't be more inferior. You couldn't have been more driven. The most unthinkable, dehumanized state. So stop pretending that that is being a superior person, because that's the only thing that L. Ron Hubbard gave these people, these false superiority complexes that landed them in disgusting places. So feed away on the misery of whatever, or actually start coming clean. One or the other is what's going to be seen. Exactly, Steph. When it comes to children, they don't have a voice. We need to be their voice. As many of us as we can, as many of us as we can put ourselves, our intelligence, our adult intelligence, as all of you are coming together and coming up with incredible ways to creatively, effectively deal with this problem, because we are making progress. There's a lot of things going on that is making a lot of progress. But all of these loose ends need to be tied up as well in order to arrive into this present moment and really understand what is the situation and what needs to be changed. Peter Anderson, the wrath of my Khan. To the last I will grapple with thee. From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hate's sake I split my last breath at thee. Thank you, Lisa. Serge is amazing at staying focused, always prioritizing the kids' well-being above everything else. I mean, it's just the common sense thing, you guys. It's just literally the common sense thing. We lived that nightmare. We saw how delusional the adults became. We saw why they became that way. We understand it. We don't wish it on any of them. We don't wish it on nobody. It all needs to cease. It all needs to stop. And the only way to achieve this is by making them aware, not of their adult choices, which they're allowed to do, and we don't have a lot of sway to change their adult choices. That's something that they're going to have to change on themselves. But they have to understand to lay off of the kids. That's our mission. Our mission is to make them aware that kids are off limits, that kids should not be fair game, that kids should not be told that they're adults. To be honest, Mike has nothing to lose by telling on himself. He's passing away, so he might as well drop all the quilt he's been carrying on to for so long. We welcome that, Mike. Nobody wants you to go to the afterlife with this. That's it. The facts are the facts. The context is the context. L. Ron Hubbard is the disgusting degenerate that your whole life became a part of. You wasted all of that. But you know what? Your last breaths that you have, you cannot waste them. You can choose different. It's always available to you. You're extremely smart. You're extremely able to understand how to fix this problem. We do have faith in you. We do. We know that you know how to stop this. We do know that. And you know that too. So you can stop it because kids cannot and do not consent. So if at the time you thought they could, today is the day that you go, oh, they don't. That's it. Exactly. It's sure interesting how MR jumped through Darbo parts of his stories to sum him up. They hate us for no reason, literally no reason. And again, Mike Rinder, nobody hates you. We can see through you when we call out things that are not okay. They're all being done through the lens of what you could be coming forward with, things that you know, things that we don't have to tell you, things that you can find for yourself in the literal OSA documents. So that's it. Exactly, Anne. Mike Rinder never left. I mean, and that's a choice, Mike Rinder, and that is the tragedy. If you don't release yourself from that prison of belief, from the prison of creating false shore stories to, normalize, to sanitize, like that's just going to keep you stuck in the condition that we don't wish on anybody. You don't have to die with the responsibility that you could choose different. We are not kids anymore, and we are grown, and we know the truth. And it matters. It matters that nobody stood up for us, Mike Rinder, because that's what led to our abuse being systemic, institutionalized, and not checked. So, yes, as kids today, as kids that were specifically essayed, that we know how that affected us today. We know that other kids are being exposed to this danger as we speak. It's unconscionable. We don't want them to wake up in their midlife crisis, wanting to off themselves, wanting to alive themselves, because everything starts crumbling down. All of that abuse that was propped up in those hotels. Nothing floated. Nothing floated whatsoever. So, exactly. Thank you, Miriam. Exactly, Marilyn. Put yourself in someone else's shoes before you tell them that they have to forgive. And exactly. And the forgiveness aspect, the forgiveness comes from the stopping of the abuse. Like the forgiveness, believe you me, we will stop our YouTube channel the minute we know and we understand that, yes, we had a horrific childhood. Yes, kids were at risk. Yes, that's now being diverted. They're no longer in clear and present danger. It's been acknowledged that no child should be exposed to anything L. Ron Hubbard ever said or wrote. All of it is completely indefensible and inexcusable to be administered on kids. No parent can do that to their child anymore. That's the forgiveness. Okay, well, you had a horrible childhood. Kids are not exposed to that now. Continue to go to therapy and continue figuring out how to regulate your nervous system for the rest of your life. We're handicapped. We're amputees. We have to go to physical therapy all the time. We have to figure out how to work with our limbs after this. That's what needs to be done. We don't want other adults to have to go through that. We don't want other kids to get to this point. We don't want other kids to off themselves because they're not being helped the proper way that we would know now. Yeah, Lamichi, but not forgiving only causes more damage. Fight, protest, don't make a profit off of years old victimhood. No one is profiting other than the abusers that have full unfeathered access to kids as we speak. So just make sure you understand what we are stating and why. Because the ones that are profiting out of the victimhood of full unfeathered access to kids are inside those buildings. T-Ray, I think Serge has been around 10 years since he's been out. I think that's what he said the other night. Yeah, I mean, I left Sea Org in my very early, I think I was 2021 when I left the Sea Org. And then I thought I was still a Scientologist, even though I went to live in New York. And then I came here to Los Angeles and I was still trying to do this, but left is when I finally came to the understanding of what in the hell. And then as soon as I could, as soon as my earliest first interview on 2020, I've spoken only about the kids. Understanding that with my psychiatrist, understanding the level of sadism, the level of tortures that we were exposed to as kids, all that was normalized. It was unthinkable to feel that level of betrayal. And it does develop betrayal blindness. Like that's what your brain does to protect you from understanding your circumstances. But once that blindness wears off, you are really in a lot of trouble. And again, no one wishes that dysfunction on anybody for any reason. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Olga. That's so nice, so sweet. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for you guys as a community showing up for us. We know you're showing up for us. We know you understand the assignment. We know that you care. You've invested so much of your time, so much of your life, understanding, watching different streams, gathering all this information, gathering all this data. Hello, Defending Elvis fans. You know, Lisa Marie Presley, think about her too, Mike Rinder. Another kid brought into Scientology under your tenure, under Priscilla getting recruited. Y'all did an excellent job at getting the people in. No one is questioning your ability to make things happen. But think about her, think about Ben, think about all of that dysfunction that it's just too much. Dianetics, he basically admitted he's been using Scientology practices for his treatment, which is no surprise. It's sad watching these longtime exes face the reality that they are mortal and that they got duped. I mean, it's true, Dianetics. It's very, very hard for them to come to that conclusion. And again, it just calls for them to raise their confront. I mean, they told us that as kids all the time. They do need to raise their confront. They're choosing not to see reality as it is because they think that they're protecting a legacy that is only harming more kids. The legacy might be okay for them, their delusion propped up, they feel safe. I'm a good person. I always wanted to save a world. But that's not the truth. That's not the facts. That's not the choices. The choices were destructive and it amounted to all of our collective childhoods getting destroyed, including yours, Dianetics. So, you know, it matters. It matters so much. I mean, there's so much to protest. There's not enough time in the calendar, but it is all coming out. It's all coming out. Exactly, Dianetics. It's not going to be a basket of rose. I know that much. Not because Mike Rinder, not because it's Mike Rinder. It's just how Scientology's death goes. Mike Rinder made 2 parts of the series talking about ASL being out ethics. Yeah, Mike. And I mean, again, it's like we're beyond that. We really are beyond that. It's like the distractions are not working because anytime you misdirect, we're going to direct your attention right where it needs to go. There's kids in there right now. Fix it. Fix it, or we'll continue to tell you what you need to fix. Thank you, Trisha. The Search the Art protest at Lara was so powerful and I loved that it was moving. Thank you, Trisha. We really appreciated you guys' support on that. And more of that is going to come forward because that's all the power we have, you guys. That's all the power we have to continue using our creativity, to continue feeling like whatever it takes to stop this abuse. And if more victims are coming forward, like Isabella, amazing, because we know the problem is alive and well. And it's not amazing because the problem is alive and well. And that is cause of severe concern. Mhm. Hmm. Do fish swim? Do birds fly? I mean, damn it. Yeah, nobody's raising the children. They're adults in little bodies. I mean, that's all it took for the childhoods to just be completely, you know, devastated. Yeah, Brenda, of course. We need to stop wishing that any of these top executives are going to take responsibility and lend the kids now any help. We need to find other solutions. Yeah. Well, part of the solutions is correcting the record. Part of the solutions is pushing back so that, the record states what's not being confronted, because it is an opportunity to raise awareness. And whether we know we can control his mouth, we know we cannot control his actions, but we can continue to protest as a way to push back, which is what was taken away from us in those hotels. We couldn't push back. We were told to always acquiesce to the abuse. And today we're pushing back because it matters that whatever's put false on the public record doesn't stay there, because that level of spin always takes away the importance of the kids that are stuck in there right now. So I completely agree with you. There's a lot more solutions that need to be found somehow. Yeah. Hello, Martha. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you, Seattle Shy Girl. Yeah, that's the problem, Steph. The parents let them literally take the kids to be groomed. And kids have no defenses, you guys. Kids look up to your parents, you look up to your grandparents, you look for them to tell you where to go, where to be, how to be. That's how Mother Nature works. And unfortunately, these kids do not have defenses against what's been normalized that is so egregious, disgusting, and indefensible. People need to remember Mike Rinder had 30 years to have an honest dialogue to those he has affected. He hasn't reached out to me once in 19 years. His entire fight has been for the indies. I mean, yeah, there's there's a lot of pain. I mean, we lost family members of yours, Amanda, from another Scientology mother that would just not care for her kids, that would leave her kids alone, unsupervised, until one of them burned to death. I mean, when is that pain going to be acknowledged? Coming for Christmas. Like, why was a child of Scientology left alone, burned to die? Like, when is that pain going to be acknowledged? When is that going to be acknowledged that he deserved better? Mm, thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Exactly, T. Exactly right. Every voice counts. And really, the more, the merrier. Thank you, Martha. Exactly. This is beautiful. As we come to the end of our life, the most liberating thing that we must do is to try to heal what we have broken and rejoice where we can bring the light. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Thank you, Trisha. Well, you guys, like I said, thank you so much for holding space for us. Thank you much for discussing and digesting this information, which is just another reminder that we are all working for a day where there's no more kids in Scientology, no more child brides in Scientology, acknowledging that kids cannot consent, that they do need advocates, that they're owed advocates, and that it's incumbent upon all of us to come together as a collective of concerned citizens and adults in doing whatever we can on a daily basis to whatever is going to take to stop this madness, to stop this senseless abuse of kids, because all kids deserve better. And the more we see the change, the more we see safeguards being adopted, guardrails put in, boundaries being erected where they've been eroded, that's when we know that we are getting to where we need to be. I mean, as much as I said we haven't made a shred of progress, we haven't in reality. Like I said, all the abuses have been corroborated as they're happening right now. So, in that regard, we have done nothing. But, on the other hand, we have been able to have our voices heard, and we have been able to reach out to more people and increase the awareness of the problem and narrow down the scope of what needs to be saved. It's childhoods that need to be saved. It's innocence that needs to be rescued from the fangs of the disgusting rhetoric of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. And the kids need that help. They're not getting it. There's not enough advocacy. And it is all of us coming together and continuing to demand accountability, continuing to push back on any and all distractions that try to taint that very heavy burden that all of us carry, not because we chose it, because life gave it to us and said, here you go, deal with this. That's how we were all brought to this planet. Contrary to L. Ron Hubbard's belief, we didn't choose to be born in a Scientology parent. We didn't have that choice. We couldn't consent to that. We had nothing we did to deserve that. And that acknowledgement in ourselves allows us to see that no other child in our position deserves that either. And if people would have been advocating for us back then there could have been prevention. Then we wouldn't even be here to talk about it. So the more we continue to advocate for a day there's no more kids in Scientology, the faster it will come. And we will stay on it until it ends. So, hope everyone is having a wonderful morning or wonderful night. Thank you again for holding space and staying with us. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.